I think we need to have a little talk.
About my dream about being Bella Swan?
Gotta make something clear here. I don't want to be Bella Swan. I don't. Because as I'm sure you know, I don't like Twilight. Twilight gets a pretty bad rap. Most people just don't like it because, well, because of Bella. She's a big reason. Most people don't like the story, they think it's silly, they think it's an abusive relationship or whatever. But the reason I don't like Twilight is actually kind of different. Being such an avid reader and being a writer myself, I'm pretty critical of writing. The plot of Twilight, I actually kind of like the idea of it. It's got some really great aspects to it when you think about it. It has forbidden love, a love triangle, the whole bad boy, good girl thing. It has the epic good versus evil battle that most great stories have. And there's a happy ending. So really, it's got the building blocks to be a great story.
So why isn't it?
One big reason, the writing. You can have the best idea in the world, but if you can't write it, if you can't pull it off, it's not worth anything. And in my opinion, it's just not a well-written book. Now granted, it is supposed to be for a young adult audience, so the writing is not as mature and developed as someone my age is used to.
But still, when I was a young adult, I read books that were written a lot better than Twilight was written.
The number one reason Twilight is badly written?
Look up Mary Sue on Wikipedia and you will see a picture of Bella Swan right next to it.
I don't know how Stephenie Meyer could have written a character like that, seriously thinking that it was a good character. Sometimes I suspect that she set out purposely to write the biggest Mary Sue character she could, because I just don't see how she could have gotten so Mary Sue-ish otherwise.
Let's go through a little Mary Sue checklist, shall we?
Is she new to town? Check. Do all boys fall madly in love with her upon first sight? Check. Does the one boy who has never looked at any other girl fall head over heels for her and would do anything for her, including lay down his own life? Check. Does she have an adorable quirk? Well, I wouldn't really call that affected clumsiness adorable, but for the purposes of this checklist, check. Is she just, oh, so perfect and awesome in every single way? Check. Does she have some kind of a special power or ability? Check! All of this points to Bella Swan being one hell of a Mary Sue. In fact, the biggest Mary Sue I have ever seen in any book, TV show, or movie. And when a book has a Mary Sue in it, it's not a good book. Another thing that really bugs me about the writing, it's really bland, it's really boring. It kind of just follows Bella around her life. And we read about things that have absolutely no weight to the story whatsoever. Like Bella's English class, and Bella going to her locker, and Bella going home at night and having a burger with her father. It's just so many things that we don't need to read about.
The key to a good book, in my opinion, is that everything happens for a reason. Maybe not in life, but in literature, it should. Every scene, everything that happens, especially to the main character of the book, it should be a vehicle for the plot. It should move the plot forward. It should be relevant. But most of Twilight was just Bella walking around being Bella. Also, the antagonist of the book, at least the first Twilight book, did not come in until about 3/4 through the book. The antagonist? That's a pretty big damn part of the plot. Some kind of conflict should be introduced in the first third of the book. And okay, let's talk about the whole controlling, abusive relationship between Bella and Edward. I don't really think it's an abusive relationship, so to speak. I mean, okay, he does kind of sit by her bed and watch her sleep without her knowledge, and that's kind of creepy. But that's not really abusive. Another thing I just don't like about the books is Bella is way too obsessed with Edward. And okay, when you're a teenager, when you're 16, your whole life does kind of revolve around a guy. But not quite to the extent that Bella's life revolves completely around Edward's. It's just kind of sad. But what I'm trying to say here is that I like the story of Twilight, I like the plot, it's a good idea, but it was poorly executed. It reads like a bad fan fiction. And I've read some bad fan fiction. I gotta make sure this is still friggin' recording. Oh, here we go. Oh no! Woo! Oh shit.